All right.
That's not my mouth. Feels like there's kind of background music.
Are we ready?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Call this meeting to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Kurt's on vacation today, so I'm standing in for the month, and you'll see him back in February. If I could have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Budnick,
Here.
Commissioner Perry,
Here.
Commissioner Scott,
Here.
Commissioner Wall,
Here.
Mayor Metzger.
And I guess we'll go on to public discussion. Yeah.
Right at the beginning.
That's
I was
right.
trying to stall a little bit because my board president was going to come and he was
Oh.
waiting, childcare to do the handoff. But I told him I stalled. I'll text him I stalled as much as I could. All right. So I'm going to hook up. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Danya Bazzi. I'm the superintendent at Ferndale Public Schools. So I'm here again to give the community a reminder on a couple of upcoming initiatives that you will see on the March 2020 ballot that are with regards to Ferndale Public Schools. One of them is the non-homestead Headley override that school districts post Proposal A have to put on the ballot regularly. It allows the school district to levy the 18 mills required to get your full foundation allowance, which is basically your per pupil funding. So what's good is the property values in the area are increasing. So we're approaching that 18 mills. And if we go under the 18 mills, we won't get the full funding. We won't even get what we're getting today. So it's a renewal. It's no, projected increase, and it only affects businesses and non-homestead. So it doesn't affect the homestead. So that's one thing. The second thing is we have a 0 mil increase for a bond that will provide capital improvements throughout the district. Those capital improvements include a new elementary school, K2, and repurpose of the lower elementary school, which I know is of interest in Pleasant Ridge. That building will still stay as is, and we'll have students from the Center of the Arts and Advanced Studies utilizing that building. So I am continuing to go on because I have a website that if I'm not able to get on, it's called ferndaleforward.com. And it basically answers every question that people have been asking us along the way and that we could think of. If we were residents, what types of questions would we have about this type of ballot initiative? We're at a very good time in terms of property values, interest rates that allow us to levy $125 million with holding our millage rate steady. So that's really an opportune time.
What's the website you needed here?
Ferndale, I can type it in, ferndaleforward.com.
Ferndaleforward.com. Org. Thank you.
No, it's actually .com,
Oh,
because we had to
sorry,
buy
my
the
fault.
URL, I know,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. No worries. Murphy's Law with
Of
technology.
course, technology.
It's the-
Sweet new
it's-
system isn't
Yeah.
really sweet right now.
That's right. There we go.
Oh, there you go, you got it. So this website is a
Such a cute picture.
This is a very interactive website. So again, up here is the FAQ page that has, again, every question. Why is the district building a new elementary? We've had previous bonds. How are those bond funds utilized? So We have informational meetings also set up throughout the districts in different buildings to show the different needs in each particular building. So if you click on that, it tells you our next meeting is January 21st at Ferndale Upper Elementary at noon. We have evening, we have Saturday, we have daytime, to be flexible and be respectful of people's working schedules and family commitments. Also, you can contact us, you can email, call me, and we can answer any questions that you might have with regards to the upcoming bond proposal. Now, as you go through the site, if you just really scroll down, it basically allows you to see what are the focus. One, reimagining our learning environments. Every single classroom within the district will be impacted by this upcoming bond, meaning flexible furniture, technology, safety and security, infrastructure in terms of keeping students warm, safe, and dry. So every single classroom will be impacted by the bond. Again, as you scroll, you'll see other headers pop up, learning environments, advanced security, things of that nature. And then it'll go through, because it'll be a three-phased approach with the bond in 3 series. It'll share with you what's projected in each phase at each building throughout the district.
Can I tell you, I think you guys did such a good job with this. Like,
I appreciate
really, there is no stone left unturned on this website. You can see exactly what's going to happen and when.
Yes, we want to be transparent, and as I said, you know, the team that's working on this, whether it's communications, operations, and myself, we really want to see this bond from start to finish. So we've all given a commitment to be at Ferndale Public Schools and to see that through. And, you know, obviously, you know, you always talk about the future, but that's our commitment, and that's the goal. So, again, it goes into the different phases. Now I'm going to be risky and go to Facebook, because I have a nice video that will, you know, will tell the story fairly quickly in 2 minutes about, and will give you a good idea of what we're trying to accomplish.
If you have to sign in for that.
I'm hoping not, because it's a public page. I think it will ask a little bit. Yeah, like, not now. I just want to be anonymously looking.
We don't know what Jim was surfing.
Wow. Nothing on Facebook.
Yeah, here we go. And let's see. And I'm sorry, volume. Oh, there we go.
This March, Ferndale Schools will ask our community to invest in our facilities. If approved, this bond would yield $125 million for our schools with no increase to the current tax rate. Our focus for these funds lies in 3 areas: safety and security, reimagining the classroom, and restoring and protecting infrastructure. The safety and security of our students, staff, and community is always our top priority. Our schools were built in a time when our current security challenges were unimaginable. Improving control over who can access what parts of our buildings would increase the safety of everyone on our campuses. Bond funding would be invested in permanent improvements to access points and entryways district-wide that meet the security demands of today and tomorrow. Classroom structures haven't changed much in the past 150 years either. As the pace of change accelerates, educators are reimagining the spaces where our students learn. Integrating these innovations would better prepare students to excel in a changing world at jobs that haven't even been invented yet. Imagine 30% larger classroom spaces, flexible enough to meet the needs of our current students, but adaptable enough to evolve into the future. Energy efficiency and ensuring our students are kept warm, dry, and safe isn't exciting, it's expected. Bond funding would secure resources for a 10-year facility usage plan to systematically repair and improve our aging infrastructure. This not only means better learning environments, but it will also reduce the cost of annual maintenance. In order to best meet these needs, we're also proposing the construction of a new Laura Elementary School that will fully meet today's standards.
Thank you for taking the time to learn more about our zero mil increase $125 million bond proposal. For more information, please visit Ferndale 4.
So that gives you a little bit. As I said, we have informational meetings. We make ourselves available for tours and things like this. We understand that it's a significant ask, but we believe, on behalf of our students in the community, that a strong school district allows for, stronger communities. So, again, on behalf of the district, we really appreciate the time to be able to come and share this with the commission. And any questions you have, please send them our way, and we'll certainly answer.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Were there any questions from anyone?
Just a comment, the
Yes.
website is maybe one of the easiest to navigate.
Right.
I
Thank you.
mean, really, if you can scroll, you can get through the heart
Thank you.
of
We
the
appreciate
ask.
that.
And I think it probably it would answer most of the questions people would have if they would just take the time and look through the website, and navigate through, because it is just that easy and quick and informative. I was really impressed with
Thank you.
what you did. Really good job.
We have an exceptional team. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah.
And just a quick question, were there
Yes.
any remaining informational sessions ahead of March 10?
Yeah. There's
A couple weeks, isn't there one?
there's
on the
one at
21st?
January 21st at noon at Fuel, but there's at least three.
At least
And
yeah,
then
so
we'll be on Saturday, I forget the date exactly, if maybe February 1st. It's ahead of the Super Bowl, whatever the day before.
Okay,
That day we'll have a booth all day at the All City
got it.
competition, the band, orchestra, choir. So we'll be there all day to answer questions, provide informational literature, and So yeah, we have at least three, I believe, left.
Okay,
Yeah.
they can find those on the website.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
By scrolling.
Yes.
Hey, Danya, thank you so much. I came the other night when you did the tour of the building over at Roosevelt, and that was really interesting. And it was good to hear a lot of the different questions that people were having. And one of the big questions that we're hearing from Pleasant Ridge residents is regarding Casa moving to Roosevelt. And with that, so can you tell us what all Casa is?
Yeah.
And what it stands for?
Casa is a consortium program. The biggest two districts that attend Casa are Berkeley and Ferndale. And what they do is they allow smaller districts such as ourselves offer advanced courses that maybe in your home district you would only get 4 or 5 kids who would be registering. For example, like Japanese. So all the districts come in, Oak Park, Hazel Park, Ferndale, Berkeley. There's 6 or 7, I'm missing some, but they come in and they send students to Casa for 2 or 3 hours per day. So a student is at Ferndale High School for a portion of their day, and then they go to Casa and complete either whether it's related to the arts or advanced studies, like Calc 2, AP statistics. So it's ensuring that we're still being able to offer diverse courses, but maximizing efficiency.
He's here.
Is he behind me? This is Mike Davison, who is a Ferndale parent, most importantly, but
Hi.
also the
Hi.
Board of Education president.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hello.
I apologize for being late.
No,
There was a
you're fine.
lack of communication between my wife and myself about what time I needed to leave.
Happens to all of us.
I like that you didn't
Right.
blame anyone
Yeah.
there.
I think it was a mutual miscommunication.
So we went through the website and the video and just wrapping up questions.
Okay.
So I was asking some questions about Casa, and so one of the questions is, as this, with that shift, is, people are pretty excited to hear, okay, there would not be the buses in the morning and stuff, because sometimes they forget to avoid Ridge Road at that time. But what will happen? What do you guys anticipate with the parking situation with Casa kids coming? So you said they're coming from all these different
Yeah, they're
areas?
coming from
Okay.
different districts. A lot of them are bused in.
They
The
are,
school
okay.
districts provide transportation to students so that they can come. There are students, obviously, who drive, especially from Ferndale, even though there's no reason to drive. It would be a quick walk. So we'll certainly encourage, when weather permits, to walk. The thing is, we will be investigating parking, where we can expand parking, but while being respectful that the community has made it fairly clear that they'd like to see a lot of the playground space kept for community usage. So we're gonna work with our architects to make sure that we can add parking. One thing is, though, students from Casa don't come till the afternoon. So in the morning, it's not gonna create a bottleneck because you don't have students coming in and parking. They don't start Casa till after 12 o'clock. So there's going to be that. And then the nice thing is all of the students, most of them participate in extracurricular sports activities. So they go to Casa and then they have to get back to their home district. They have to get back for marching band, for athletics, for clubs, organizations. So it really is going to be utilized mainly, 3 hours out of the day. Yeah.
And there's some initial thought about, looking at the space and figuring out how to include some additional parking while
Yeah.
maintaining the.
Okay,
That's
playground.
budgeted, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Now, with this space, I know, I was talking to a couple parents and they were saying they have programs like dance and things too.
Correct.
Now, is this space, and I haven't spoken with our recreation people or our city manager or anyone about this, but are these ever spaces that can be shared with the communities?
Definitely. If there's a space that the city would like to utilize, whether it's at Lower or really any of our buildings, we've worked a lot with the city of Ferndale, in providing basketball and things like this on the weekends. But specifically with Casa, again, there's not really evening and weekend activities. So the building utilization is there, and we'll certainly partner as community members. Certainly Pleasant Ridge has been very giving to us and utilizing spaces at your community center when the school has needed it. So we'll certainly reciprocate that.
That's great.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility, I would imagine, that there'd be more space available than in the evenings and weekends than there is now, just because the lower activities at Lower
Yeah.
run into the evenings now more so than Casa activities.
Mm.
Well,
There'll be a lot more space at the new. The current Ferndale Lower we have about 500 students, and we're sitting in about 50,000 square feet. It was built in 1921, 2 years after its namesake passed away. So it's a 100-year-old building, and so we understand with the new elementary, we're making a 100-year decision. So the planning and prep to make sure that building meets the needs of our students for the next 100 years is something that will take a lot of time. So the new building will be roughly 80,000 square feet. So not one cafeteria, gymnasium. Students will have a separate cafeteria, separate gymnasium, STEM rooms, more sophisticated art rooms for our students and things like this. There'll just be the space to be able to be more creative with.
That's cool. Now, with the, the question is always, and you guys face it every day, the whole school of choice, different, the ratios and things like that. How, with the new organization that you guys, as you reshuffled things a couple of years ago, separating the lower and the upper
Correct.
elementary, how has that affected sort of the school of choice and retaining more people from the district, residents from the district in the schools?
So I would say we're really on the upswing. This year, we have our highest kindergarten enrollment at Ferndale Lower, and we have our highest retention rate of resident students. So this year has been really an exciting year for Ferndale schools. We are keeping more of our resident students. We love our school of choice students. They contribute academically, artistically, and financially because their per pupil funding follows them, So once they get accepted, there are students and there's no differentiation. But Ferndale with this new building is not looking to become a 5,000 student district. There's capacity, as you said, because of the school of choice numbers. The board, at the board's discretion, can can determine how much, how many, when. And if we're retaining more of our resident districts, you know, certainly that would be scaled back in the future. But again, students who are with us stay with us. It's not, you know, it's, once they become a Ferndale Public School student, they are with us until they graduate. So again, the district isn't looking to add 1,000 students, but we're looking to make sure we have the best facilities for our students. So we've seen a stark difference this year than we've seen over the past, and I think some of the decisions in right-sizing the districts, ensuring there's equity has really been beneficial.
Well, it's been interesting because our community has really, we've seen this big shift over the past, I don't know how many years, of many more families with young children.
Yes.
And so there's so, you know, the school question is always a much, you know, has become a bigger and bigger question and, you know, discussion, which has been really great because it, you know, I've seen through the work you guys have been doing, like this big, you know, definitely a big push to make it, to focus on getting, you know, the residents to really pay attention to the Ferndale schools and to be a part of that community. So it's been
Yeah,
fun.
and tell them to come our way. We've had a number of families from all communities that we serve who said, hey, can we just take a tour? And when they walk around, whether it's with me or with the director of communications, they're kind of like looking around and kids are telling them good morning and things are, and it's like the perception sometimes is just not reality. So we really are making an effort to invite people into the schools, even though if you go past the high school, there's somebody in there from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. We're open to the community, so there's always people there. But we really invite people to come, and they'll see that Ferndale really is a special place that will provide them with an experience and education that really is unique to Southeast Michigan. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
And just looking at the video, it seems you've gotten the absolute most out of whatever infrastructure is there now. There's need for improvement, but you've done everything you can
Right.
to get the most out of it.
Well, to piggyback on that, can you talk about what I thought was really interesting that how this began? Like you hired a company to come in and assess all the properties and give a detailed audit about what was needed.
Yeah, the board really directed us to do, what they asked for is a 10-year facility plan is what they asked for. And so we did a really deep, thorough infrastructure assessment of all district buildings. And really to say, okay, we understand that there could be $300 million worth of need, but how do we break this out into phases? And how do we maximize a bond as well as the sinking fund that we have and really plan this out for 10 years? So we know what projects are coming up and we have a plan. It's not just we're trying to plug this hole and do this. There's a systematic plan. So we worked with Clark Construction and GMB, an architect, to do that facility assessment, building by building. We've been working on this proposal for well over a year, so it's not something we just said,
Right.
oh, we can generate all these funds, let's put it on the ballot today. It's something that the board and the district employees have really been giving thought for the past year, and we're at a point where we're comfortable with the project. But yeah, it's the facility assessment, if anyone ever wants to see it, is about that thick, but really takes us out for the 10 years. And we even specify what's bond, what's general fund, what's sinking fund. So we're very grateful to the community. They've been very supportive, and I think you're starting to see that in the infrastructure within the schools.
That's cool.
So just last thing, just to, you know what they told me to hammer in, that both of them are renewals and no projected increase. I think that's important in these economic times for
Very
all of
important.
us. And then again, if there's any questions, you know, send them our way.
Cool.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Oops.
They hadn't invented that yet. I'm Sherry A. Wells from Ferndale, otherwise known as Mrs. Ferndale, with photo ops of many different of the buildings when Ferndale was putting the historical plaques on them downtown. And the post office, the postmaster was a history buff, so he was in the photo op, and it gave me my chance to say, when you close the post office, can we have it for our historical museum? because it's still, other than taking a few metal bars away, it's still quite like it looked in 1937, which would be exciting. I last talked to Mr. Scott in the hall with Becky Uber, and I did call Nick Kokotovich.
Yeah.
And I've been in your historical museum. It's amazing. It's so much bigger than it looks from the outside.
Clown car.
So I had already started working on the project of listing all of the different city directories from up to 1960 from before that list every one of the cities in what is Royal Oak Township as of 1833. The whole township from Baseline Road, otherwise known as 8 Mile Road, to 14 Mile Road from DeQuinder to Greenfield. And when each city took its bite out of Royal Oak Township to where what we have left is, quote, the township, which is the charter township of Royal Oak, which you know is a separate kind of governmental entity. And so that's what that is. But here's Pleasant Ridge, and it became a village in 1921 and a city in 1927. So it was already listed in the city directories going back to 1922. And I found that fascinating. And so on behalf of your historical commission, I will be handing these over. There's 4 pages, 2 are all ready for a ring binder.
Great.
And then 1 to be hidden away in case any parts of that disappears. I've volunteered for years at our Ferndale Historical Museum, so I know what happens to some of those things. And
Awesome.
so, Mr. Scott, if you will
Sure, thank you.
take these on behalf of your city.
Appreciate it, thank you.
That's great.
Thank you so much. It was sweet.
I'll make sure
It
that
was
these
my
get into the
pleasure.
museum as artifacts that we keep. We've been updating our process for taking in new materials that people bring us for the museum so that we can keep track of it. And
good.
we'll probably, I think there's a form I have to give you at some point that says we got it from you.
Oh.
But I'll get that to you.
You have my email address.
We've
as
got
of
you on
today.
video, so we know who it was.
And one of the nice things about 1920s is I got shoes that fit. Because they don't make them that many 7.5 anymore. That all our young people are having big feet.
Must be the
Thank you very
vitamins.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey.
I'm back.
Yay!
Well, good evening, Commission, staff, and viewers. I'm Ted Zachary from the Pleasant Ridge Environmental Committee, 68 Devonshire. And I just have a few points. I'm delighted to say that we have the article that I wanted to put in the Ridger. It's about looking to declutter in 2020. The main purpose of it is so that we don't have a lot of weight, a lot of big things at the curb. And if we get rid of that somehow, instead of paying for it, we save a lot of money. So I'm delighted. Take a look at your Ridger, and that'll be great. Now, I wish I had put a lot of stuff, but there was not enough room. So tonight I'm going to show a couple of things that you could do. One of them is when you have something out for the curb, you would put a free sign. This is my visual aid for the evening.
Demo.
For example, if you have a lawn edger, you can just put it on the lawn edger like this, and hopefully somebody will take the lawn edger instead of us paying somebody to dispose of it. It saves us all money, all kinds of money, and it doesn't go in the landfill. So my visual aid is this. I'm going to pass this around to everybody here, I think. What you would do is, if you want to make your own, since you've used it all up,
Okay.
you know how you get flyers and advertisements and
Thank you,
bills?
Thank you
Put
so
the
much.
word free on it.
Cool.
Wait,
And
I'm gonna just
hopefully
write up a
somebody
little.
else picks it up.
That's okay, I've done that.
Oh, you've done it. Very good.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's my visual aid for the evening.
Nice.
Okay.
I like
Thank
it.
you for sharing.
Okay, another somewhat visual aid is if you have Netflix. I checked the library, they don't have this certain movie. It's called Game Changer. 2 months ago, I heard about Game Changer, I watched it, and I stopped eating meat. No meat whatsoever for almost 2 months now, and I feel good about it. And that's another part about the environment. It is really, really surprising how much goes into a pound of meat versus the same equivalent protein of wheat or oats or things like that, plant-based. So in the spirit of game changing, I asked Shawnee about vegan meal, and they do have vegan meals available. And there's going to be 2 more vegans over there. So I encourage you to watch the Game Changer movie. And I'll conclude, if there's no other questions, with a quote by a famous photographer who deals with animals. She says, "Now is the time to be part of the change. Now is the time to be part of the change." Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just delighted to do this. This is my part of doing something for a change.
I think
That's
it's
it, right?
awesome.
This is the way we do TED
I'm
Talks
part of the
in Pleasant
change.
Ridge.
So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Is there anyone else with public discussion tonight? All right, on to governmental reports. I think we have one.
I'll be brief. I didn't know if there was time. You told me, as you were the acting mayor tonight, to keep it short.
Wow. Throwing his weight
He was
around.
going for a record short meeting. The only thing I have, first of all, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Same to
and good
you.
evening. We're seeing, not so much here, but other cities, and we've gotten calls about scam calls and things like that. Just a real uptick in that of people calling saying you owe money and go buy some gift cards and send us the money and thing. We've had a few residents that were scammed that way. Don't fall for that. Also, it's tax season with the IRS again. The IRS does not call you and say you owe money and send us gift cards. So don't fall for that
Pay for your taxes.
either. No, because now they're not even saying send the gift cards. They have you go buy them and then have you scratch it and then give them the numbers over the phone,
Gosh.
and now they have them.
That's
And now and it's gone. So
Crazy.
that's the new thing. So, and that's all I have.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really listen
Thank
to
you.
them.
Right, you can return those gift cards still.
Yes, that's right. Next up, commission liaison reports. We'll start with Ms. Wall.
Oh, thank you. So, okay, let's discuss what's happening a lot. Okay, Pleasant Ridge picks the Oscars. This is going to be exciting. We're going to be having all the movies. I'll tell you about it in a second. At the Rec Center, there's a voting link. You can make sure that you vote by noon on the 5th of February. Results will be released on Oscar night. Movies begin on January 21st at 6. So we're going to start with The Irishman. That's a long movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
hunker down, bring a sleeping bag. January 22nd, The Joker. January 23rd, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. January 28th, Ford versus Ferrari. January 29th, A Marriage Story. Depressing, but. January 30th, Parasite. February 4th, Jojo Rabbit. And then I want to plug this. Little Women in 1917 will be shown as movie of the month in upcoming months.
Great.
I saw Little Women, and it was really good. Can plug that. Okay. Daddy-daughter dance is coming up on Friday, January 31st. It's filling up fast, so we really encourage you to go online and register. Tickets are on sale now. They're $15 per couple. Registration deadline is the 22nd. PR Foundation and the Women's Club scholarship applications are available at City Hall, and do you have some too?
We have some at the rec center.
At the Rec Center and City Hall. I encourage you to, apply for it. What can you lose? And it's a great program. Monthly, Junior Garden Club. This is great. Junior Garden Club meeting February 12th at 3:45. For people out there in the audience and at home, such a great thing. Kids love it. It's free. I mean, just you have to register. Kids Pilates classes begin the week of February 18th. Youth sports registration, this is big. For soccer and baseball is open until March 1st. Okay, this is a big thing. We're having the Pleasant Ridge Foundation event. If you're new to the community or if you just want to learn more about the foundation and see where the money goes, we're going to talk about all the projects we've funded over the years. We want your ideas for future funding. We want you to get involved. We need people to help out with the auction. We need people to help out with the scholarship programs. But if you're not willing to volunteer, you can come. We do wall of wine for the auction. You can bring a bottle of wine, donate that. You can donate money. You can learn how you can get involved. And it's going to be fun. We're going to have adult beverages and hors d'oeuvres.
When is that?
That is this Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Rec Center, 7 to 9. Short presentation, and we're going to have breakout sessions and discuss, all the different things, answer your questions. And again, we want your ideas because we fund projects for the community. Just to give you an example, for those of you who don't know, Gainsborough Park, Pleasant Ridge Foundation funded the toddler park over there. That was before anybody voted. To do the whole big Gainsborough Park. I mean, we've done a lot of Kickstarter things in the neighborhood that are really critical. So it's a really good way to raise money for the community. Okay. Save the date, PR overnight camp. This was a lot of fun last year for the 1st of August. Is that a Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep.
And I think that wraps me up.
That's a lot.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. Next up, Mr. Budnick. Sure. First, I'd like to thank Danya for coming today. Thank you so much for all the information, and we really appreciate your time. And as a new liaison to Ferndale Schools, I'm extremely excited to be a part of this. So I just urge everyone to get involved and check everything out on Ferndale Forward and be involved in the conversation. What an exciting time to have this being unveiled and moving forward. So thank you so much. And that's really all I have. I'll be going to my first meeting next month, or this month rather. So I'll have more at that time. So cool. Thank
Exciting.
you. Yeah, very excited.
Excellent.
And you're up next.
Yay. Great. So the Planning Commission and DDA have not met since the last time we all met. And so, but they will be meeting on Monday, January 27th. Right here at City Hall. So hopefully you can come by and check out the Planning Commission and DDA. That's all I have.
I
Thanks.
apologize. I forgot to say something. We're having our rec meeting to the 29th here at 7.
Oh,
Or at the rec center.
The rec center.
What am I talking about? The rec center.
what is it, January 29th?
June 29th.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And for the Historical Commission, congratulations to the 4 new members of the board for the Historical Commission. They were elected at the last meeting.
Oh, it's exciting.
Lauren Howard, Amber Herrick, Eric Krogel, and Lisa Wedson accepted roles on the board, and very happy that they took those roles. The Historical Commission's got a lot of nice things planned for the year. We'll have our home and garden tour in September. There's no meeting in February, but I believe the next meeting is March 3rd. And there is a workshop on February 6th, so if you'd just like to stop by while the workshop is going, feel free. That's it. And next up would be our consent agenda. I just need a motion for the items in the consent agenda, which include the minutes, the disbursement report, resolution in honor of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, proclamation of January as Volunteer Blood Donor Month, and a budget amendment.
Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. I have a roll call.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Wall?
Yes.
Commissioner Budnick?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Scott?
Yes. And that is almost it tonight. We're up to the city manager report.
I have very little. A couple quick notes, though. First, the deadline for spring cooperative tree planting program is Thursday, February 13.
If you'd like a tree planted in the area between the sidewalk and the street in front of your house, the cost to the resident is $125, and the city covers the remaining about 2/3 of the cost. It's about $300 to plant a tree. We do plant 2 or 3 streets every year, so we haven't identified which ones we're going to do yet, but residents on those streets will obviously get a tree if there's a hole in front of your house.
Can
Boards.
I ask a question about that?
Sure.
So how would the residents, so say I'm looking and I'm thinking about getting a tree, but you're planning on putting a tree in the city. If I contacted you, would you tell me?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, so if we decide after you've already paid for one, we'd
Yeah.
refund you. We've done that in the
Okay.
past.
I just was curious how people would know.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And so we pick the streets based on which streets have the least number of trees.
Makes sense.
So we just need to go through and run the numbers for how many trees we had to cut down last year and what we planted to
Okay.
update that table, basically.
Okay.
And our goal is to plant every street in the city at least every 10 years.
Okay.
On a rolling basis going forward. So if you want a tree now, you can pay that $125 to move to the front of the
I'm
line.
impatient for my tree. Okay.
Or you can wait a few years and we'll get you.
Okay.
I remember reading we put over 400 trees in over the last, I forget how many years.
Yeah, it's been quite a
lot of
bit.
trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been working hard at that. And then boards and commissions applications, we'll be making appointments. We have openings on the recreation and planning commissions. We will be doing those in February, so you can submit applications if you're interested in serving on a city board or commission until really the beginning of February. So,
And we encourage you.
yeah, it's a great way to get involved in the community.
Yep.
And that's all I have. Happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions? Wow, this is fast.
Yes.
I don't even understand. Like, I'm
Right.
blown away.
Is there anyone that has any other business?
The only thing I just thought of is the city manager has been working very hard since he got here because many people have asked for this, for better lighting up at the Main Street crossing north-south across the 696 Service Drive 10 Mile. And they have put it in, and it is amazing. It is bright, and it is effective, and it's outstanding. So especially as when the weather starts to get better, I think more and more people will notice it. But it is so much better. So thank you for
I think
navigating
if
on
I go out there to that corner at night now, you'll see the gray hairs that it's giving me. Trying to get those lights there.
Oh my gosh, it's so much better. Thank you. The gray hairs look good.
I think I can adjourn.
Pull the trigger.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Deputy Mayor Scott, I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
My second.
Awesome. That's it, folks.
It's a wrap.
Excellent.
That's a wrap.
Nice job.
Digging it.